All right, welcome back to another episode of the J. Youngblood Experience. You already know what it is. It's week 3 of college football, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. I know a lot of you Georgia fans were scared about that Kentucky game. And I know what would have happened if y'all would have lost. I would start calling for certain people's jobs and this and this and that. The problem with Georgia fans, and we're going to break this game down a little bit, because I did not expect Georgia to come out and only score 13 points against Kentucky. I did not expect that whatsoever. Whew. It was something, for sure. I want to say this. A lot of commentators are going to come out and they're going to have these big takes, and they're going to call Georgia overrated. They're going to call Georgia not ready and prime for the big games that do come with, being, Georgia, which is, SEC championships, the actual playoffs when they come. I'm going to say this. Playing in the SEC, having to go to another SEC team's home stadium and play at night should not be overlooked. I don't care that it's Kentucky. I really don't. I don't. And I hate Georgia more than anybody. But I can say I do not think this game is going to dictate how they play for the rest of the season. I just genuinely don't. I watched the game, and there wasn't much for Georgia to come out with. There wasn't. I watched the game downtown Athens, obviously. Didn't really have much of a run attack. I think they only had, 102 yards rushing. Trevor Etienne got the ball 20 times, only 80 yards. Only 80 yards. Carson Beck threw the ball for 24 times, only completed 15 of his passes for 160 yards. And this is where I think the playing in a night game away on the road at Kentucky played major factor. A major factor. You also have Brock Vandagriff, who used to be a quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs. And as much as I hate Georgia, I don't think this is going to dictate the rest of their season. I really don't. I think Kentucky brought their A game. Whenever I saw them play against South Carolina the week prior, they looked terrible. And I thought, well, I think, Georgia's going to run all over them. They're going to throw all over them. But then you look at that LSU South Carolina game, and you're like, okay, well, maybe South Carolina is actually a good team. And maybe they just played their best at home against Georgia. Or Kentucky actually played their best game at home against Georgia. But I think South Carolina is actually a good team. We're going to get into that, obviously. But yeah, Georgia, when it comes to their running game, didn't have a lot. I think the average was about 3 yards per game, which isn't terrible, if you're being honest. But it's not what you expect from Georgia. You expect very big plays from them. And then Carson only throwing for 160 yards with 0 touchdowns is not something you expect either. None of their wide receivers got over 100 yards receiving. And their defense only got 1 sack. 1 sack. No interceptions at all in this game for Georgia. None. When it comes to Kentucky, let's see, Brock Vandagriff only threw for 114 yards. I mean, your defense can't do much better than that. They did almost rush for 200 yards, though. So, I mean, that's the biggest difference, I guess. They were able to run the ball efficiently. But it was just a very close game for whatever reason. And I think that reason was the fact that Georgia is playing away. You're playing away at night at a in-conference game against a Kentucky team that has really nothing to lose. They played terribly in South Carolina, lost to them. Come home, and they want the win. They want the win. I could see their team was definitely into it, for sure. Once they got the momentum, it was very hard to come. I mean, it's just hard. A lot of people were like, excuse me. A lot of people looking outside the SEC conference, and even some in the conference who are SEC fans or just a fan of, a team in the SEC. They see this game and, Georgia's overrated. I don't think Georgia's overrated. I just think Kentucky played a really good game. And I think Brock Vandagriff had a chip on his shoulder in this game, and they wanted to win. Just very reminiscent of that game against Georgia played Missouri. It may have been 2 years ago. They had to play at Missouri. Stetson came out and on the game-winning drive, I think they kicked the field goal to win it. Remind me the exact same of this game. The exact same. Georgia has these games where they come out. You can see they're a little lax. Not exactly. I wouldn't say they're not ready. I think every team that comes in has to be ready. You don't practice all week. You don't practice all off season not to be ready. I just think Kentucky played a really good game, and they were very tough to beat. It's an away game at home for Georgia, or at home for Kentucky, away for Georgia. I don't think this is going to dictate Georgia's entire season. I really don't. There's going to be commentators out there who give these big takes about how Georgia, simply they're not there. They're not ready for this. They're not ready. This team is not like, yes, this team is full of 5 stars, full of 4 stars. They're well coached. This is not something you're going to see again. I promise. This is just not going to happen. Everybody can talk their, what. You can talk their shit, and it's simply not going to happen. This team is not built to play like this. Let's see, who do they have next coming up? Okay. Very nice. So they got Alabama next, and then Auburn. That Alabama game is going to be sick. Going to be amazing. So it looks like Georgia has a bye week this week coming up. Bye week on the 21st. Go out and play Alabama at another road game at night in Tuscaloosa. That's going to be a hell of a game too. Especially how Jalen Milroe played, and we're about to go over that game as well. Looking like a good game. And, you want to see games like this. Why, as a Georgia fan, do you want to see every game be a blowout? Do you not want to be on the edge of your seat? You just want to see every game like it's Madden on easy or on rookie? You just want to come out and beat every team like nothing? It's okay. You're going to be fine. Georgia's going to do what Georgia does. You finally gave up. Let's see. Did y'all give up a touchdown to Kentucky? Y'all still haven't given us up a touchdown since in the last 4 games y'all have played. Y'all haven't given up a touchdown. Relax. Kirby Smart's a hell of a coach. He has a great offensive staff and defensive staff. He has a great team, 5 stars all the way around. You have Carson Beck, who's going to be a first-round pick in this upcoming draft. All you Georgia fans who are calling out Kirby, who are calling him, Mark Richt. He's acting like Mark Richt now. No, he's not. It's a hard game away. Just shut up. Just shut your mouth and watch what happens. Y'all play Alabama away again. It's going to be a tough game. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be an easy game, but it's going to be one to watch. This is what college football is about. This is what it's about. Okay? Georgia's going to be fine. They're going to win. They're going to win against Alabama, in my opinion. I think they're going to beat them. Jalen Milroe is going off right now. He is. That last game against Wisconsin was crazy. But I think he had 5 total touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that. But don't be worried about this game. It wasn't a game to be worried about. It's on the road against Kentucky. You do have to go on the road against Alabama, and that's going to be a tougher team to play against. But y'all are going to be ready. I know this game is going to be tight, but y'all are going to be ready. This is not a game y'all should be worried about. And y'all get a week off beforehand. Just relax. Everything's going to be fine. I know you want to be scared right now, and you're feeling back into early 2000s to late 2000s feeling where it's like, oh no, we're gonna not show up in the big games, but you are. It's gonna be fine. Just relax. Just calm down. It's gonna be all right. Y'all get a bye week before Alabama. The whole entire college football gave y'all a gym with that one. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be all right. Just shut up. I'm tired of hearing Georgia fans. The thing is, if it's not a blowout win, then Georgia fans are upset. And then if it is a blowout win, then y'all call out every single player that did wrong and the coaches. It's ignorance. I don't want to hear it. Listen, you have a bye week before Alabama, and then you go play Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I'm not going to say that's not going to be a hard game, because it is. But just pay attention. Kirby Smart is a hell of a coach. And I hate to say that because I hate Georgia, but he's a hell of a coach. Get over yourself. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. All of you are scared. Don't know what to do. But it's going to be okay. I promise. This is not something that's going to happen again. Just watch. I promise. All right, now getting into this Alabama-Wisconsin game. Jesus Christ. 42-10. Jalen Milroe had the most yards rushing for the entire team and passing. My guy. 14 attempts for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. 47 was his long for his rushing. Then he threw for almost 200 yards, 3 tutties, so he had a total of 5 touchdowns. This team looks solid, very solid. It looks like they threw Ty Simpson in. He went 4 or 5, 30 yards, whatever. This game was not even close. Wisconsin is not even in the same ballpark as Alabama is. When you're looking at their stats, they only had a total of 150 yards rushing and a total of 140 yards passing. There's not really much to say about this game except Alabama definitely outclassed them. They did better at every aspect of the game. And Alabama's looking good. Obviously, this is Wisconsin. People didn't really know what to expect. But in the day, this is what you look for out of your quarterback. Someone who struggled a little bit against USF. It seems like Alabama always struggles against them. I don't know why, but they always do, even when they, had Nick Saban. But this is what I'm going to tell you now. Alabama is a force to be reckoned with. This is still Alabama. And whether Nick Saban is there or not, this is still Alabama. Still Alabama. And they have Georgia coming up. I'm not sure if they have a bye week next week. If they gave Georgia a bye week and not Alabama, that'd be kind of messed up. Let me see. Let's look at Alabama's schedule together. Yeah, they got a bye week ahead of the Georgia game. Number 2 versus number 4. And then they play Vandy, South Carolina, Tennessee. There are some big games coming up. We haven't even got into these big games. Alabama has some big games coming up, and I'm excited to see where they end up. I'm excited to see that. I'm very excited to see that. I think Alabama actually is a solid team. A lot of people are playing down on them solely because Nick Saban's not there no more. And I get it. When you have a powerhouse like Nick Saban and won as many national championships as he has, obviously you want to automatically go down and be like, nah, he didn't. This isn't going to work. Like, blah, blah, blah. Listen, this is still Alabama. They bring in talent. This is Alabama. They completely outclassed Wisconsin. Total score was 42-10. Not even close. And that's all I'm giving attention to that game. Now we're going to get into a game that left me almost speechless. I was actually pretty speechless about this game. Let me pull it up real quick for us. I did not expect LSU to come this close to losing to South Carolina. And the only reason they truly lost, I don't know what would have happened if it went to overtime, but the only reason they really lost is because their South Carolina's kicker just completely whiffed it to the left. Absolutely whiffed it to the left. But my boy Garrett Nussmeier, 24 of 40, 1 interception, 285 yards, passing in, 2 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? He had a decent game. Our biggest issue, man, is up front. We couldn't score. The Tigers could not score in the red zone. We were on the 2, had 3 plays to actually get in and make a touchdown, and we settled for a field goal. Actually, no. I take that back. We went for it. It was a 4-down territory, and we could not score, and they got the ball. South Carolina's front line, bro, their defensive front line, solid. Absolutely solid. And to give up with our rushing, we had 132 yards rushing. Garrett Nussmeier had negative 24 yards rushing, so that takes away a good chunk of that. But, it was a solid game. Very solid game. One I definitely enjoyed watching. I probably would have enjoyed it a bit more if I wasn't a LSU fan. But our D-line looked shit. Absolute shit. 245 yards rushing given up. Passing, our DBs didn't look terrible, only 155 yards given up, but they ran the ball. Absolutely ran the ball. 4 TDs, no touchdowns given up receiving, but 4 touchdowns given up rushing. Yeah, if I was Beamer, I would run the ball every play against LSU. I don't even know why he threw it. He should have just handed the ball off every time. Obviously, Sellers got, injured, and they put Robbie Ashford in, and I think Robbie Ashford may be a freshman. I believe he is a freshman. So trying to be a freshman and winning. They were at home. Like I said, this is another example of a SEC rival going there. I understand it's not a night game. Going to South Carolina. Columbia is very underrated when it comes to how much their fans get involved in the game. This is not, you just don't go to an SEC school during the day, at night, it doesn't matter, away on the road and get an easy win. You just don't. This isn't how this works. This isn't how football works. The fans play a big, major, huge part in the outcome of the game, and you saw it in this game for sure. LSU's D-line just couldn't get it done. They couldn't stop the fucking nosebleed. They ran the ball 41 times on us for almost 250 yards. Absolutely insane. Like I said, our secondary did pretty well when it comes to defending the pass. One pick, only 155 yards given up total when it comes in passing. But it's very interesting to me how close some of these games have been over the weekend. And this has a lot to say with the talent in the SEC. You cannot, any given weekend, you cannot say that one team can't win over the other. It's just how it works. It really is. So, everybody can say what they want to say, but games like this are very entertaining. I love watching it. LSU almost lost to both the USC teams, which is kind of upsetting, but I'm very happy. I'm happy with the outcome. I'm not happy with the fact that our defense can't stop a nosebleed. But we came out with the win. Very happy about that. South Carolina is a solid team, way better than I thought they were. Way better than last season as well, because last season they gave us some games where I felt like they should have won. Especially with them having what's his name? Their quarterback from last year. I can't remember his name, but Spencer Rattler. Having him, maybe he was the issue. I don't know. Maybe he made mistakes that certain other quarterbacks wouldn't make. But this was a very entertaining game. I loved watching it. I was actually at work watching it all the way down to the wire. Brian Kelly looked like he was about to blow a gasket on the sideline. But ultimately, it wasn't the offensive issue. It was a defensive issue. I think it was 17-0 at one time. South Carolina was just running the ball. And it wasn't even anything special. They were just running the ball. Just old school football. Well, I'm going to line up against you. You line up against me and see if you can stop what I have. Biggest takeaway from this game, though, is the fact that we put up 14 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win. It was a very entertaining game, though. I mean, everybody, if you didn't watch this game, go back and watch the highlights. It just goes to show you, like, these games away for teams in the SEC is not easy to win. It's simply not easy to win, and it shouldn't be expected to win on the road against a team in the SEC. I don't care what anybody has to say. It's not easy to win on the road, especially in the SEC. It's just very hard. That's why, Georgia fans, you play Texas on the road, you play Alabama on the road, and you play Ole Miss on the road. These are going to be some critical games against some very good teams. Very excited to watch it. Very excited to see it. Do I want Georgia to lose? I'm cool with Carson Beck. Do I want to see him lose? No, but I would love to see y'all's obnoxious, dirty, disgusting fans who get on all fours and bark. I would love to see them lose. Yes. All right, getting into the next game. This one was actually not entertaining. It was the absolute opposite of what we just talked about. The Texas versus UTSA? What is that? Texas and San Antonio? Yeah. This one, only reason I brought this one up is because my boy Arch Manning finally got to throw the ball, finally got to be in there and show what he's made of. A lot of people were talking down on my boy Arch Manning because he played in a private school. It wasn't a big school. I don't give a damn where it was. My boy balled in high school, and he balled against this team here. He looked good. He looked good. Whatever athleticism is in that bloodstream of the Manning family, he got all of it. Because Eli didn't get it. My dude Peyton didn't get it. They were not athletic, but their decision-making, maybe more Peyton than Eli, was very good, and they could throw the ball downfield. My boy Arch Manning can do both. He had 3 rushes, 57 or 53 yards. Texas had a total of 187 yards total rushing. Arch Manning he only threw the ball 9 times. He only had 3 incompletions, 223 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they went off on offense. I think they had 187 yards rushing, another 427 passing. My Lord. That's close to 600 yards of total offense, if not 600 yards total offense. Absolutely balled against this high school team. I know it's UTSA, University of Texas and San Antonio. I understand that, but being able to see him in a full-off game, Quinn Ewers went down, which you never want to see that ever. Quinn Ewers went down. But you love to see someone like Arch Manning come out and ball. I don't think there's been this big of an anticipation for a quarterback to play, especially being behind someone like Quinn Ewers, since Tim Tebow played behind Chris Leak. And I know that's probably a big thing, and people don't want to hear that because people put Tim Tebow like with Jesus, and he's just the god of football. But seeing this, I think, is the most anticipation we've seen from a quarterback being behind someone since that. I mean, my guy put up 5 touchdowns, roughly 280 yards total offense, no interceptions. I mean, this is great. You love to see it. That Texas is back. Texas is absolutely back. Absolutely back. They're back. This is a good team led by Steve Sarkisian. Ryan Wingo is a hell of a wide receiver, right there with Isaiah Bond. Both had over 100 yards receiving, and their defense looked good too. I understand. I know. The comms are going to say it's UTSA. That's fine. That's okay. It's cool. But I can appreciate seeing this from Arch Manning as well as Texas. They're supposed to beat this team. Not only did they beat this team, they beat this team soundly, 56-7. And you love to see it. But the big thing is Texas being Texas. Are they going to be able to keep this team up throughout the year, especially against SEC teams on the road? All right, they play Louisiana Monroe next. Easy win. They'll put up another 50 points. They play Mississippi State next at home. I think that'll be an easy win. Mississippi State doesn't look like that big of a threat. And then they play Oklahoma on the road. Number 15, Oklahoma on the road. That's October 12th. Big game. First big game for them, in my opinion. Everybody was talking about that Michigan game. Everybody knows Michigan is not that great. But then they go and play Georgia at home. Huge game. And I think the most underrated game we're going to see for Texas is going to be that Vanderbilt on the road and Arkansas on the road. Not because Arkansas and Vanderbilt are great teams, solely because you have to go on the road at an SEC school. That's the main reason. And that's going to be the most underrated game. I'm not saying it's the best game. I'm simply saying it's the most underrated games. Then you have Texas against Georgia, number 1 versus number 2, and we're going to get into the entire fact. Why would the committee, why would the AP poll put Georgia at 2? It's the worst thing you can fucking do right now. Why would you do that? All Kirby Smart is going to do, he's going to get into the locker room, he's going to get into practice, and he's going to say, you see what they think of y'all? They put y'all at 2, put Texas number 1 because they think they're better than you. And they're going to use that as fuel to the fire. And I truly think this is another reason why I think Georgia's going to come out and absolutely obliterate the next couple of opponents, solely because they did that bullshit. It pisses me off that they did that. It really did, because Kirby Smart and the entire staff, T-Rob, my boy T-Rob, they're going to use this as fuel. I can't believe that they did that. I can't believe it. I was talking to some Georgia fans, and they said the same thing. It's going to be amazing to see. They're just going to use it as fuel. That's it. So I think after that game, the AP poll and committee got together. How can we piss off Kirby Smart? And that's what they did. They put him at 2. Put him at 2. Damn, I hate when they do that shit. Like, why? You know what's going to happen. I think they did it on purpose. They want to see Georgia win. I'm not saying there's bias there. I'm simply saying they want to see Georgia win. Of course you want to see Georgia win. Who wouldn't want to see Georgia win besides people that don't like Georgia? They did it on purpose. Because I thought leading up to the Texas-Georgia game that Georgia be 1 and Texas be 2. Obviously, we have some games to play before we get there. We have like 3 or 4 weeks to get there. I understand. But why would you do this to us? As fans who don't want to see Georgia win, why would you put Georgia at 2? I don't see Texas losing in the next 3 weeks. I don't see Georgia losing in the next 3 weeks either. I think they'll beat Alabama by 3 to 7 points. And then maybe Georgia will move out. Either way, I hope they keep Georgia at 2. Because I think it'll make a better game for that Texas game. That Texas-Georgia game is going to be so good. No matter what. But if Georgia comes in at number 2, man, the pregame speeches by my man Kirby Smart, the pregame speeches, the practice speeches. going to be revolutionary. I hate to see it. I really do. I don't want to see it, but I mean, that's what they did, and I know they did it on purpose. They did it for a reason. They want better football. They want better ratings. They want this. They want that. They want to see Georgia just come out with a rage and beat all these teams leading up to Texas. The worst thing, or actually, this may be the best thing. The best thing that can happen in the SEC is all three, Texas, Georgia, and Missouri, all lose only one game throughout the entire season. It's going to put stress so much on the committee, and they'll have to put all three in. They'll have to put all three in. It'll have to happen. And I can't wait to see it. Especially LSU, if we only lose one game throughout the season, it's going to be a catastrophe. The Big 10, Big 12, ACC, they're all going to be pissed. But they know who has the more superior football. Is it getting closer? Yes. Is it getting closer? Yes. For a while, it was Alabama, and Alabama. Then you got Georgia. Now it's getting a bit closer. But you bring Texas in, you bring Oklahoma in. Both the teams are good, and they're whoever they played with before, I don't remember at this moment. But it's going to be dope. This season this is the most excited I've been about college football in a very long time. So I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. Now let's get into the next game. A lot of you may not like this next game because you may be Florida State fans. But I'm going to give Florida State the same exact... Let me take a deep breath. Hold up. I'm going to give Florida State the same exact pressure, the same exact consequences, the same exact everything that I gave Notre Dame. Florida came in with whatever his name was as their quarterback. What's his name? I'm about to pull it up. I don't know how to pronounce it. Ukulele, whatever his name is. And they were primed to be. They were supposed to be in the playoff last year. And then they got blown out by Georgia in their respective bowl game. But they said, that doesn't matter. Of course it doesn't matter. Why would it matter? It's a bowl game. All of our players left. Okay, cool. Fine. I'll give you that, right? It was last season. You're playing in a bowl game. It's not even for the national championship. Who cares? They put Alabama in over you. Thought they were the better team. In my opinion, both Georgia and Alabama should have been in there because they were the better teams out of the 6, 7 teams they were looking at. But it's cool. Lost to Georgia. Nobody was playing. And Georgia wanted to put, Georgia came in there with a rage because they were also left out. But a lot of y'all's players left. It's cool. I understand. But then to come into the season, and now you're 0-3. You lost to Memphis, Boston College, and I don't remember who y'all lost to before. It doesn't matter at this point. 0-3. Your coach used to work for Memphis. Came over to Florida State, and what happens? You lose to Memphis. You fucking lose to Memphis. Florida State is an actual garbage of a team. Honestly, what I'm thinking right now, just go ahead and give them the death penalty. Put this team out of college football forever. This is the most embarrassing beginning of a season I have ever witnessed in my life. 23 going on 24 years. This is the absolute most disgusting, absolute most embarrassing way to start a season. Embarrassing. You talked all offseason how y'all should have been in the playoff, how y'all would have won the playoff if y'all were there. I don't believe so. Y'all would have lost first round. I don't even care. Y'all would have lost. Michigan or Ohio State would have beat you. Alabama would have beat you. I don't care what y'all have to say, what the argument is. Doesn't matter. You come in after the offseason. You have all this shit y'all talk. Ukulele or whatever the hell, DJ, whatever his name supposed to be the next Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, supposed to be Joe Burrow, Bryce Young, He comes in, shits the bed first game, shits the bed the second game, third game, shits the bed again to the team that your coach used to coach for. Memphis. Only has 65 rushing yards. Only 65. No, it wasn't a good game on rushing for them. Their top running back, Mario Anderson, only had 32 rushing yards. They threw for almost 300 yards, 2 tutties. Not a high-scoring game. 20-12. It's the fact that all you Florida State fans talk so much shit. I'm giving you the same treatment that I gave Notre Dame. You're a shit team. You're shit. You're shit. All of Florida is shit besides Miami right now. All of them. Florida State is shit. USF is shit. Florida's shit. Only good team in Florida right now. Even UCF is shit. Only good team right now is Miami. Who would have fucking thought that? Florida State, you should be absolutely embarrassed. All the alumni, all the Hall of Famers y'all have, all the Ring of Honors you have are watching this team an embarrassment. And you just paid your coach so much money. Let me see how much he's getting paid each year. Let's look at this man's salary. Getting paid $10 million a year. 6th highest paid coach in college football right now. 0-3. Nick Saban would never. Never. Les Miles would never. Urban Meyer would never. Kirby Smart would never. Never. Dan Mullen wouldn't even. Shit, Billy Napier would never. 0-3? And your schedule's not that fucking hard? 0-3 with a coach getting paid $10 million a year. What's his buyout? Let's see his buyout. How much would it be to get this fucker out of Tallahassee? He would have to get paid $65 million not to coach, or 85% of his salary. By the way, his salary doesn't expire until 2031. His contract is until 2031. What absolute fuckery we have going here. You better hope he's able to fucking, especially with Miami doing well. Florida tries to do good when it comes to recruiting. You better hope he's doing well in recruiting. This is absolute shit. Terrible. Awful. This is terrible. Florida State, all your fans, I don't feel bad for you. You talked all that shit. This is what you deserve. Florida State needs a death penalty. Put them away now. Let's go ahead and look at y'all's next couple games. Let's look at y'all's next couple games, see what you have coming up. California, let's get a win, baby. Florida. SMU, you'll lose to Clemson. You probably lose to Duke. You're going to get slaughtered by Miami. Going to get beat by UNC. Notre Dame's going to beat you. Charleston Southern, and then you have Florida. It's probably a toss-up. You may win 5 games this year. 0-3? What are you even working for at this point? It's absolute disgrace to college football. Absolute disgrace to the great program that is Florida State. They've been great for years, and y'all just absolutely shit the bed. Absolutely shit the bed. Terrible. I just want to get into the next one. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Absolute shit. You should all be absolutely embarrassed. Florida State, you are now in the same ranking, maybe even less than Notre Dame. How I feel about you. You are a shit team that doesn't deserve any recognition at all. Let's go to this next game. The next game is going to be Missouri versus Boston College. Listen, Boston College may be a good team. I don't fucking know. It's still early. I don't know. I think Missouri is still a good team. They're ranked number 6 in the entire, NCAA. I think this is a force to be reckoned with in Missouri. Boston College, they came up. Thomas Costello's put up 250 yards passing, 3 tutties. That's respectable. They only had 49 yards rushing, so they were able to stuff the rush. Secondary is a little suspect. Just a little suspect. Missouri, 176 yards rushing and 264 yards total passing. Had nearly 400 yards total offense. It's respectable. Maybe this Boston College team isn't as bad as we thought. Maybe so. It's still early. It's only week 3. We're going into week 4. Maybe it's not that bad. But this Missouri team is a force to be reckoned with. I want to say one more thing about Florida State. You fucking suck. Anyways, Missouri's a good team. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They have a very easy schedule too. It's not something that is like looked upon as a hard schedule such as Florida's or South Carolina's. They play Buffalo next, Murray State and Vanderbilt, A&M at A&M, UMass. Is that UMass at UMass? UMass at UMass. They play Auburn at home, Alabama away. They'll probably lose that one, I do think. But they'll come out, I think, with only 1 loss for the total season. I think this team is a solid team and a force to be reckoned with, and a lot of people aren't giving them their flowers like they should. One more thing about Florida State. Not only do you fucking suck, you're a fucking disgrace. Anyways, I think Missouri's a good team. I think Boston College is a terrible team. I don't really know what to think about these teams yet. I want to get into week 6, week 7. I want to get into that week, and I want to see where everybody sits then. And I think we'll give better analysis then. But right now, we're looking at these teams. You see a team like Florida State, Notre Dame, you expect them to be best of the best, and they fucking suck. And you see teams like Florida, you see teams like Florida State, and you're like, okay, well, do they suck, or is there a competition better? Florida fucking sucks. Florida State fucking sucks. You can tell that within week 3. Coaching's not there. They're just not there. Mentally, physically, just not there. Emotionally, nobody's in it. I mean, you can tell when you come out. You can see these teams play. They're not fucking good. They're not. Notre Dame came out and put 60-some points on whoever high school team they played before. That's fine. But Missouri's a team to be reckoned with. Y'all need to pay attention to this Missouri team. They have a very easy schedule to get in and out of this season. And they could easily get into this, playoff, especially with the 12 team now. Easily get into that game. Hey, Tennessee, still fuck you just because you beat Kent State. I don't care. Miami and Missouri are my dark horses right now. But yeah, for sure. But I think the biggest takeaway from this week is the fact that Kentucky put up a good game against Georgia. Georgia ultimately won. And then Miami is also going to be they're a dark horse, man. They're a fucking dark horse. And the fact that they put Texas over Georgia, though, is going to be scary for all of Georgia's opponents. And everybody needs to pay attention to that. This is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Especially with them upcoming, not this week, but next week, playing Alabama, at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Stadium named after, is the field's named after Nick Saban now. It's huge. Now, I guarantee you Nick Saban will be there in his little press box, taking his little notes as he does. But I'm so excited college football. One more thing for Florida State. They should give them the death penalty. Get them out the whole entire... They shouldn't even have a football program at this point. Absolutely disgrace. Never want to see them play again. Anyways, now let's get into some sadder news. Sad news. Broke my heart. And a lot of you have already texted me about this. Talked to me about this. Obviously, at the end of all these podcasts, I talk about my Cowboys. Let me wipe my eyes real quick. Yep. My Cowboys. Let's, I guess we can talk about them for a little while. All right. So after the Brown game, I said, and I quote, that our defense is top 5. Then we go and play the Saints. Motherfucker. We go and play the Saints. And I have big hopes for my Cowboys. I thought the Saints played the Panthers and they weren't that good of a team. I didn't think that at all. I thought their defense was decent. I thought their offense did what it should do against the Panthers defense that was non-existent, and Panthers offense that couldn't even get a snap off. Couldn't even get Bryce Young the ball. Put that boy under center or something. But anyways, my Cowboys lost 44-19 at home versus the New Orleans Saints. We saw a little bit of sparks from my Cowboys, but besides that, it wasn't really nothing there. It's definitely apparent that we don't have a run game. It's definitely apparent that my defense, when down, can't do much. And it's very apparent that our D-line is not big enough to take people like Alvin Kamara on. And it's very apparent that Deron Bland is definitely missed in our secondary. Rashid Shaheed had 96 yards receiving. Chris Olave, 81 yards. And Alvin Kamara had 65 yards receiving. Alvin Kamara also had 20 carries for 115 yards, and he averaged almost 6 yards a carry with 3 TDs. Derek Carr only missed 5 of his passes, going 11 of 16, 243 yards passing, which isn't great, but didn't need to do much with that run game. 2 tutties and 1 pick. Now, when it comes to my Cowboys, Dak Prescott was 27 of 39, 293 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And our best running back had 30 yards, and that was Rico Dowdle. Zeke Elliott had 6 rushes for 16 yards. If you picked him up on fantasy, you're really you're a shit person. CeeDee Lamb had a total of 4 receptions, 90 yards, 22.5 on his average, and a touchdown. My boy Jalen Tolbert, 6 receptions, 82 yards, 13 average. And then my boy Brandon Cooks was nowhere to be found. He was probably, just looking at his cleats or something. He didn't do much. Mike McCarthy, get Deuce Vaughn off the fucking field immediately. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be a part of it. Micah Parsons only had 2 tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 0 sacks, and 0 interceptions. My defense didn't look good. And a lot of people want to blame the offense. It's not the offensive fault that they put up 44 yards. It's not. It's not. All right, they put 14 points up in the first quarter, 21 in the second. All my Cowboys fans, you can blame it on Dak if you want. You can blame it on the contract negotiations. You can blame it on CD, whatever you want to do. But this was on the defense. This is absolute shit work. I mean, we put up a 353 total yards on offense. It wasn't an offensive issue. The issue was the fact that we couldn't run the ball and the fact that we couldn't fucking stop a nosebleed. That was the issue. And I'm tired of people. This is just like the Green Bay game when everybody wanted to blame Dak whenever he came out second half through a pick 6. It's not Dak's fault. He's trying to get the ball down the fucking field because we're down. Because we're down. And I don't really want to talk about this much. I still want to say to all the fans out there who talk shit about my Cowboys, who don't believe in Dallas, who don't believe in this and don't believe in that and think we suck and think every time we talk, we're just talking out of our asses. Fuck you. We still bike. All right, we back, and we're going to be better than ever. We go to play, who we play next? We play the fucking, I think we play, hold up. Who do we play next? Baltimore? Yeah, we play Baltimore next. We're about to put them 0-3. So anybody, I got 2 fingers for you. Sit and twirl. My Cowboys going to be back next week. We play at home versus the Ravens. And we're going to put them boys down. I don't give a shit what anybody says. And again, this has been the Jay Yumble experience. Fuck all you haters who hate the Cowboys who still back. If you have any issue with me, take it up with me later and after the show. This has been a Jay Youngblood experience. I appreciate everybody who's been listening. Everybody who's supported. Everybody who's been a part of the podcast. And we still bite. Go Cowboys, bitch.